Hey, good morning, guys. I'm the Tech Prepper. Hope you're all doing well. So a bit of an announcement today. We just hit 5,000 subscribers as of yesterday, so thank you so much for all the channel support. I'm going to do a small giveaway, and we'll talk about the details at some point in this video, so stick around for that. The actual subject of today's video, though, is UTM land navigation, and we'll unpack that in a bit. But at the highest level, my goal is to practice or supplement my map and compass skills with the UTM coordinate system. And I'm finding that very easy to understand and plot my position on the map. So there are lots of applications for things like finding points of interest, relaying my coordinates to search and rescue if it ever came to that. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And to make things fun, we're going to try to find a water source. I found one on the map. I'm not too hopeful because last week I did the same exercise practicing the land navigation skills for the first time, and I covered about 15.5 kilometers, roughly 9 miles. And I went in the middle of the day, which was a problem. Right now it's very early, very cool, and came across an area called Shoemaker Springs, and it looked like it was more of a watering hole for cattle, and it was just a rusted trough bucket with a few mosquito-laden puddles. But anyways, I found it. It was a new area to me, and I just wanted to share with anybody who's interested in supplementing their mapping compass skills with UTM or Universal Transverse Mercator coordinate system. And it's not complicated. I'm going to make it really easy for everybody today. I'm going to dumb it down. That's how I think. And so yeah, I've got maybe 3 kilometers as the crow flies to get to that spot. Maybe a couple of things are worth noting. So I'm only going to be using 3 pieces of gear today. The first is my USGS topographical map. I always have one in the area that I'm in. If I don't, I typically will make one on All Trails. And what's cool is the All Trails app actually supports the ability to work with UTM. There are a few settings you need to set, so I'll put a pointer to that at the end of this video. So we've got the USGS topos, number 1. Number 2, and it's not really required, but I'm finding it very useful, is a UTM grid tool. And it's a little plastic see-through tool that works with my map, which is a 1 in 24,000 scale map. It also works with 1 in 25,000 scale. And it's just a way to be able to precisely find your location, typically within about 10 square meters, which is good enough for most land navigation. And the third will be using the Garmin Instinct just to grab my GPS coordinates. We're actually not going to use it for navigation from point A to point B, so one-way point, which would be the trailhead to the destination. And the reason why I like that approach is that I don't need to wear down my GPS or wear down the battery on my GPS watch. All I need to do is, when I want to confirm where I think I am on the map or I'm lost, is just acquire the GPS position and grab the coordinates and then plot myself on the map. And that's it. So a very efficient way. You'll notice that I'm not going to use a phone. I just don't like cell phones to begin with, even though I'm a tech guy. But yeah, so those are the 3 pieces: the topographical map, the grid finding tool, and the Garmin GPS. All right, so one important thing to note is that what I'm going to show you today to find yourself on a map doesn't replace being aware of your surroundings and all of the landmarks. For example, that ridgeline over there is called Ruin Ridge. I know that right in front is Black Mesa and New River Mesa, and I know that I have Elephant Butte over there. So I'm already familiar with the geological land formations in this area and what they look like on my topo. So what I'm planning to do today with the UTM grid coordinate system is being able to pinpoint my location given the GPS coordinates very precisely. And we'll do that when we get to the watering hole, or if I get lost and need to figure out how far I am away from it. All right, we'll do a bit more walking, and we'll do another update in a bit. All right, since we're about the midpoint of probably where this video is going to land, let's talk a little bit about the 5,000 subscriber giveaway. And again, thank you for everybody and your support. Couldn't have done it without you. So I think what I want everybody to do who wants to be in the giveaway is put hashtag 5,000, hashtag 5000, and do me a favor and put down whether you want a prepper item or a ham radio item. The ham radio giveaway item is going to be a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus kit. I think it will tie in nicely to the MCOM Tools project that I've been working on and has been delayed and will be delayed a bit longer. On the prepper side, I am pretty sure I'm going to give away a brand new Olight, and this is the S1R Baton 2. I absolutely love this flashlight. I believe I'm on my third one, and I give these away as gifts to everybody in my family, and they're all coming around to carrying flashlights as part of their everyday carry. So that's it for the giveaway. In the next video, I'll randomly select a winner. So again, hashtag 5,000, and if you want the prepper or ham radio gift. All right, let's go ahead and knock out the rest of this hike because I have to get to work this morning. All right, guys, I don't have a lot of time before work, so let's go ahead and just give you the high level of UTM. And this is going to be my dummies brain dump to everybody. So at the highest level, UTM stands for Universal Transverse Mercator. Don't get hung up on it. Transverse Mercator is just the projection system. It's the way that we take the 3D model of the Earth and basically project that so that it will work on a two-dimensional plane like a map. The most important thing with UTM in my mind is that it works with the metric system, and it deals with 1 kilometer square grids. So it makes it very easy to judge distance and calculate how far you need to travel from one waypoint to the next, or pinpoint yourself on the map. Now, before you get started, we need to use the GPS and the map, and we have to make sure that they are both aligned in how they are reporting their data. So starting with the Garmin GPS, I needed to switch that from the position format from latitude and longitude to UTM/UPS. So at this point now, I'm getting back all of my readings in the UTM format. I also need to make sure that the datum that's reported by my GPS or used by my GPS matches what is read on my map. And my map uses North American datum 83. The GPS is actually using something called WGS 84, but for most intent and purpose, they're close enough to be the same. If I wanted to get slightly better accuracy, I could configure the format on the GPS to be NAD 83, which is also supported. The grid square tool is also important. We'll show this in a bit. The grid square tools are tied to the scale of your map, and your map will also show what scale. My scale is 1 in 24,000. 1 in 25,000 is also typical as well. My tool supports both. So really that's it. You need to make sure you have UTM configured as the format, the same datum as your map, and then make sure you are using a grid square tool that matches the scale on your map. Very simple. And I'll put links to where I got my gear and show that down below. So let's talk about the 3 pieces of information that you need when trying to relay your UTM coordinates to someone else. Let's say search and rescue, if it ever comes to that. So the first is a UTM zone. I'm in 12 Sierra 12S. Well, let's call it 12S. And the map also indicates your zone. And the reason for it is that the easting and northing is the same on a lot of different zones depending on where you are. So it helps or it's required to disambiguate where you are. So the first one is the UTM zone, 12S. That's my location. And then the second is the easting and northing. And the easting runs from west to east, and the northing runs from south to north. And there are grid lines and tick marks on most USGS topographical maps that show these. And like I said, the cool thing is the difference between one grid line, one easting to the next is 1 kilometer, and the difference from one northing grid line to the next is 1 kilometer. So very easy to figure out how far you are on a map. And then also, since we're dealing with the metric system, we can actually use the grid finding tool or eyeball it to figure out if we're down to 100 meters, and in some cases down to tens of meters. So really cool stuff. I really hope I haven't mangled this video, or that I'm oversimplifying it. I probably am. So I'll put some links to a couple of videos that I found useful and other resources I found useful. But suffice to say, if you can think in the metric system, and you have a grid square, and you have a good GPS unit that gives you UTM coordinates, you're all set. And like I said, the most powerful thing in my mind is the ability to pinpoint my location on a topographical map. And like I said, I'm not using a phone. I 100% want a off-grid paper map. The other cool thing I should mention, I think I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. If my GPS failed for any reason, I can fall back on my mapping compass skills, and I can shoot a couple of bearings to roughly triangulate my location on the map. And then at that point, I could still use the easting and northing grid lines on the map with my grid square to find my location and still communicate that with maybe my radio. In fact, if I don't forget, we'll see if we can raise somebody on the air and relay our coordinates. All right, I'm almost there. Time to shut up and start walking. So one more thing before we pass up this landmark. This is Ruin Ridge. It has been primarily my aid to make sure I'm heading in the right direction. But the other thing I did before I left the house and while I was planning this trip is that I took 2 UTM coordinates. The first waypoint was the trailhead, and the second one was the watering hole on the map. And then all I had to do was use my compass, and with the straight edge of the compass, with the direction of travel pointing in the direction I want to travel from the trailhead to the watering hole, I was able to orient the map and then determine what my bearing would be. In my case, it was 69 degrees. So even if I didn't know this area, I would have the ability to at least follow that bearing. So something I would do if it was a new area. All right, so I'm getting pretty close to the watering hole, so I decided to drop my pack to confirm my exact location. I laid out the map, got the coordinates, the UTM coordinates from my Garmin, and it looks like I'm within about 400 meters of the watering hole. My easting is pretty much spot on, so I'm about 400 meters south. I tried filming it for you guys with the GoPro, but it was really difficult. So I'm going to pause this portion of the video, and we'll replay at the house what I did to figure out my current location on the map right now, and then also figure out the bearing or direction of travel to the watering hole for roughly this last 400 meters. All right, guys, so we're back at the house. I'm going to try to do this justice, but it's really difficult to film overhead like this. So here is the USGS map, and the first thing we need to look for is our datum. Mine is the North American datum 8.3. This is pretty similar to WGS 8.4, but the takeaway here is this value should map what you set your GPS datum to. Right below that, we have zone 12. I'm not sure why this map is missing the S for 12S, which is the actual UTM zone I'm located in. Next, we want to look at our map scale. This is a 1 in 24,000 scale, and this is significant when you're working with a UTM grid tool. This grid tool actually supports 2 scales, but for right now, we're just going to concern ourselves with the 1 in 24,000 scale. And all that means is when we're looking at the grid and grid lines on our map, that we're dealing with 1 kilometer increments on this scale. So from 0 to 1, that's 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters, all the way to 1 kilometer. And then same thing with the northing or the Y axes. Okay, so the next thing we need to take a look at is I took a set of coordinates from the area before I had hit the watering hole, and the Garmin basically gave me an easting of 406,393 meters and a northing of 375,794 meters. Now the map actually has 2 sets of grid lines, one going from west to east, this is the easting, and then grid lines going from south to north, which is the northing. You'll notice that at the bottom we have these numbers 404, 405, 406, and in this case we have 407,000. This is basically this first 3 numbers, 406, 406. And then for our northing, they're expressed actually in millions in this case here. So we can see we have 3,750,000 meters. And for us, what's significant are just the 4 digits for right now. So 3750 going up to 3751, that's 1 kilometer, going up to 3752 kilometers. So in order to plot this, all we need to do is first start with our easting and look for this value, 406, which is right here on the map. Then we need to find our northing, which is 3752. So we go up, and where these two come together, is the area we need to work with. And then I mentioned the mnemonic of read right up, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to take our grid square, and you want to make sure that these are lined up. I'm going to do my best to do this overhead. Okay, so I've matched the, try to match the easting line on the bottom here and make sure that we're lined up. Now what we need to do, in this case, since we're already in 406, we need to make sure that we go over to 393 meters. So all we do is slide over, and I'll stop right about there on the 4. So that's roughly the 400 meter mark, maybe 390 mark right there. And then what we want to do now is handle our northing and go up 794 meters. So all we do is go up, and you can roughly see there right where that 8 is at 800, that's where my dot is. And I do apologize for not getting as close. I just can't see from this distance. So I did make a mistake in the audio where I said I was off by 400 meters north. I was actually off east. So really it's this point from here was where I was, and then I wanted to travel to the watering hole. All right, guys, so we finally did it. We actually are pretty much on the location based on where I thought it would be. And it looks like an old, I don't know, place for cattle, maybe from the early 1900s. There is water. I haven't seen water out here before. So we've achieved our objective of finding the spot using UTM with nothing more than our topographical map and using the GPS only twice to plot our UTM coordinates. So very happy with that. I'm not going to drink that water because it looks extremely stagnant, and based on the buzzing, there are quite a few mosquitoes, but I could filter it if it came to that in an emergency. So it's time to head back and go to work. But really the point of today's video is that UTM as a land navigation technique is so much easier, at least for me, compared to using latitude and longitude. I also found that using my old map and compass skills, along with being cognizant of my surroundings and layering on UTM, only enhanced my abilities to know where I was, have confidence in where I was, and be able to go through all of those exercises. So with that said, guys, I'll put some links below. I want to thank everybody for helping me hit 5,000, and really just a big thank you. Let me know if you like the content. My editing style will remain the same. I just haven't had a chance to move the needle on that front, but it's something I want to do. So I'll leave you guys with be strong, be safe, and be prepared. This is KT1RUN in the Tonto National Forest. I'm wondering if any stations would be willing to help me transcribe some information just as an exercise.
Morning, Gaston. WB4ZKA. What can I do for you?
Hey Mike, I'm filming a video and I'm practicing my UTM land navigation abilities, and I just want to traffic my location. Everything is fine. Back to you.
Need to capture this. If so, I need to get out some note paper.
Yeah, roger, roger. I just want to make sure that we're able to send you my coordinates and you're able to repeat them back.
Stand by. I will call you in about 30 seconds. WB4ZKA.
How cool is this, guys? I wasn't able to do simplex, so I'm on the local 70 centimeter repeater, so bonus material. And Mike's a good guy. He was actually my first contact that kept me in the hobby, going back 15 or 16 months now. So big thanks to WB4ZKA. Thank you, Mike.
KT1RUN, WB4ZKA. Ready to copy when you are. Send at writing speed, please.
Roger, roger, and thanks for the help. My UTM zone is 1-2 Sierra. I say again, my UTM zone is 1-2 Sierra.
Roger, I acknowledge QTM figures 1-2 Sierra.
Negative. The system I'm using is UTM, Uniform Tango Mike.
Corrected. I confirm Uniform Tango Mike is figures 1-2 Sierra.
Roger, roger. My easting is figures 406-750. I say again, my easting is 406-750.
I need you to spell the prefix. I have the figure string.
The prefix is spelled Echo, Alpha, Sierra, Tango, India, November, Golf. I say easting.
Acknowledge all. I read back easting figures 406750.
Roger, roger. Thanks for the excellent copy. The last part is my northing. I spell November, Oscar, Romeo, Tango, Hotel, India, November, Golf, northing, with figures 3752700.
All in the clear. I acknowledge your northing figures 3752700. Thank you for spelling. Very straightforward. WB4ZKA.
Well, gents, I'm sorry this is a much longer video, but sometimes this is how stuff goes when I film out here in the field. Just to recap real quickly, I tried raising someone on Simplex, Rob, who's about 30 miles from my location. Nothing happened. I do have good luck occasionally getting into one of the 70 centimeter repeaters, and I was able to throw up my call and go through that pretty lengthy exchange. I was using pro words that to help communicate the transmission, such as I say, I spell, figures. So anyways, I hope you guys got some value out of that. I know it's a bit long, but in a real life emergency, if ham radio had to be the thing that would save my life, that's exactly what I would do. I would use any technique to get on the air, in this case the repeater. I would throw out my call, state it was an emergency, and then as best as I could with the gear that I had, try to communicate as clearly and concisely using pro words to relay my coordinates. So very cool stuff. All right, guys, we're at 5,000 subs, all that good stuff. I love you guys. See you later. And there are a ton of freaking mosquitoes, so I'm not going to hang out here for very long. But actually, let me get the heck out of here. I'm not drinking that crap.